Hello there guys, and welcome back to MN's LEGO channel, and today we're going to be having a few tips about how to get started with MOC building, and some good strategies and tips to get better at it. So I'm not doing this video as like a tutorial for how to build MOCs or anything. That's something that you're going to have to figure out on your own techniques, your own building strategies, what you usually do in a MOC. That's all up to you, but I'm just going to give you a few tips for like staying organized, and how to make things easier for yourself as a beginning MOC builder. And yeah, let's get right into it. So the first tip I have is don't worry about being perfect your first time. So I've been building MOCs for about a year now, and I'm not the best at it, I'm first to say that, but I definitely have improved. And at the beginning, my MOCs were absolutely hideous. Like, I think my first MOC that I did on my channel was just a bunch of bricks thrown together. And it wasn't bad, but the terrain was pretty bad on it. There wasn't much of a story. It was pretty bad in general. I actually will link the video up in the card if you want to see me embarrass myself. And my next mock after that was just a couple of green plates on a blue base plate, and I called it a water scene. So yeah, at the beginning, the story is probably more important than the actual contents of the mock, but also just practice makes perfect. You're not going to get better if you don't practice, and even if it doesn't look good at the beginning, it does not matter one bit. You will get better as you build more MOCs and as you develop your techniques more, and as you just get better at it. So do not give up if yours do not look good. Everybody starts somewhere. Another tip is to keep your parts at least somewhat organized. So like, for example, here I have all of my tan parts, which I use very often. I have them in their own little organizer, separated by type. I have my filler brick in separate bags. Now filler brick is really important to have lots of, and I usually just keep a bunch of bags of it handy. We have my light gray bricks here, which I use for bases a lot. These were organized at one point, but this is just tan and brownish colored parts that I use in like Sand Planet MOCs and stuff. And then here we have my dark bluish gray plates of various sizes. So yeah, it doesn't even have to be perfect. You don't have to have every single unique type of part organized, though that can be helpful in certain parts that you use very often, which is with these tan parts. But it is not necessary at all, as long as you have these parts of similar types. Like, if you keep a stash of gray bricks that you use often for, like, bases and stuff, and plates of certain colors as well that you use for ground floors of bases, and also just in general, it's good to have at least some parts that you use often organized. And what parts you don't use often, I would organize by color. I have almost all of my parts organized by color that aren't organized like this, but don't have to be perfect. Just, I would recommend, especially at the beginning, keeping a good organization method for your parts. It's going to help out a lot when looking for pieces. It's just going to make your life a whole lot easier when you're building MOCs, and yeah. So another tip I have is to build MOCs that are smaller, but a little bit more detailed. So I used to do this back when I didn't have very many parts. I used to just build these small MOCs that were very small, but they had lots of detail for their size. But you can do stuff like this. It helps improve your techniques, especially if you don't have too many parts. Just create little tiny scenes with the few parts or clone troopers or figures that you have. I used to do that a lot before I stockpiled these tan parts. And yeah, just build small stuff, at least at the beginning, and it'll help you get your skills up. It'll help you build stuff even if you don't have gigantic stockpiles of parts to work with. And yeah. One other tip I have is to stockpile large quantities of parts that you're going to use a lot. Like, for me, an example is these tan parts. I didn't go out of my way to buy these just for building MOCs in general. I bought these for my Tatooine MOC. But yeah, I stockpiled a whole bunch of these tan parts because I was building Tatooine, and Tatooine is a sand planet, and it's good to have lots of sand pieces for that. And having lots of a certain type of piece means that it will be easier to create larger builds of that type. It also makes it easier in general. Like for me, I build lots of sand planets for MOCs, so I have lots of tan parts, which works well. Another example is these gray 2x4 pieces, or these gray bricks. Good to have lots of those. I think I already touched on this a little bit before, but it's a good idea. Another thing is white bricks, which are also good for MOCs, white plates and stuff for snow planets. You can do transparent, clear, small pieces and small transparent blue or transparent blue pieces, which would be good for water and stuff like that. It's usually good to have lots of that. And if you have large quantities of at least some decently common parts, it's going to be really good for when you build MOCs that feature lots of that specific type of part. Honestly, probably my biggest tip is to build what you want and have fun doing it. So if you really like building these landscape scenes, these battle scenes, then build lots of those. If you like building lots of vehicles, like I like to build vehicles on occasion, then build vehicles. And whatever you enjoy building and whatever you like to do, then just do that. It's the best advice I can honestly give. So I really hope these tips help you guys who are beginning to start building MOCs. I really hope these tips help you guys get a little bit better at it. And if they did, please leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and tell me if you thought these tips were helpful or not in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.